Joining us now to discuss Republican Congressman Jason Smith of Missouri. He is the chairman of the powerful House Ways and Means Tax Writing Committee. Mr. Chairman, thanks very much for being here. I really appreciate it. So, of course, you heard there Speaker Johnson blaming Democrats, but frankly, a number of your fellow Republicans want to see more information about Jeffrey Epstein released. Do you think the administration should release more information about Jeffrey Epstein?
You know, I support what President Trump has been calling for. He's called for additional documents to be unsealed from the grand jury. The more transparency that we can have, the better. Over the last 4 years, we haven't had any transparency in the Epstein files. Any step in the right direction would be helpful. But let me tell you, I was home this past weekend. I had not one person when I was traveling my congressional district that talked to me about Epstein. What they talked to me about was the benefits from the one big beautiful bill and lower taxes, a higher child tax credit, no tax on tips. Not one person in my district asked me about that.
So if that's the case, sir, why do you think that so many supporters of the president, from his MAGA base in particular, are so focused on this?
It sounds like Hakeem Jeffries is pretty focused on it as well, because House Democrats weren't focused on it during the Biden administration, but they clearly are now. So it's surprising to me that this is getting so much oxygen, because there's so many other issues that Americans really care about, like what I discovered when I was home this past weekend.
Your colleagues, though, I mean, Thomas Massie is co-sponsoring a bill with Ro Khanna. That's what this whole, tie-up is about, voting on this. There are enough members of your conference who say they care about it, that the speaker says, hey, we got to go home early. Is there any world where, you have the power of subpoena. When, my colleague Jake Tapper talked to Julie Brown, she broke the Epstein story. She said, follow the money. Would you ever consider using subpoena power to learn more about Epstein's finances?
So let me just say, in regards to ending early, we're ending 1 day early. We were scheduled to be out on Thursday. Instead, last votes are on Wednesday. So it's 24 hours early that we're returning. And we were also here the week before 4th of July and the week of 4th of July when we weren't normally scheduled. We've delivered more major wins in the first 6 months of this legislative session than what most Congresses do in 2 years. So I'm pretty pleased with the results of what we passed, especially with the one big beautiful bill that I helped draft all the tax legislation. So I don't think we're ending that early.
Fair enough. Just on the subpoena point, would you ever use subpoena power to try to find out more information about Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, you may use subpoena powers at any point. That is not a common thing that I have utilized within the Ways and Means Committee. But if I felt like that it was a priority for Americans, then of course. But like I said, this has not been something that's been a driving force. What people's cared about is the cost to put food on their table or the cost to put clothes on their backs. That's the focus they've had, or whether increase wages. And that is what our focus has been on the Ways and Means Committee. That's why we passed the one big beautiful bill, did no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, tax relief for seniors, an increased child tax credit, increased standard deduction. We did all this for the American people because that's what we're hearing about.
But you did use subpoena power with Hunter Biden.
Exactly. We have the authority to use it, but that is the only time that I have used it. Like I said, our focus has been delivering relief for working families, small businesses, and farmers. That should be the priority. Epstein is not the priority of everyday American who's working 9 to 5, just trying to put food on their table, clothes on their backs, and gasoline in their cars. That is not their focus.
All right, fair enough. And of course, I do take your point. Massive piece of legislation, Donald Trump's agenda did get through your committee, through the House of Representatives, as I know you had spent many, many hours working on that. Congressman Jason Smith, the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, thank you so much for coming on the show today, sir. I really appreciate it.